Okay, just for a change. Just for a change, a little bit of driving in Warsaw at night. Because I haven't done an awful lot of Warsaw photography, or filming rather. This guy's using Nivea cream. Can you believe it? He's using like Nivea cream in his car. And he's plomping little Nivea, and now he's rubbing the face cream into his face. Can you believe that? It's a man doing that. I'm shocked. He's probably really... I don't know what's wrong with him. I think I'm intimidated by that. A man rubbing Nivea cream into his face like that, I don't know. It's not exactly... Well, it can't be sun cream because it's the middle of the night.
Time to go.
Dear, dear. I have to watch that guy. Right. There was the cops on the corner there. This one's called galeriaqter.pl. And now this guy who's doing his rubbing of cream into his face is going into LuxMed, the clinic. Maybe he's going to see his dermatologist for a repeat prescription. What?
Ah, I know.
Why? What's going on there?
Andrea Bocelli's here.
Andrea Bocelli's here?
Yes, here.
Andrea Bocelli's here?
That's right.
In there?
Yes.
What does he sing then? Is that why there's this police around in case Andrea Bocelli tries anything? Is he a mafia figure?
I don't know.
What does he sing anyway? Time to... You know it, don't you? Say goodbye. La, 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 dee. La, 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 la. I'm just saying goodbye. Con te partirò per monte e mare. La, 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 so. La, 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 la. La da 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 di da di da di 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 mancano le parole. Da di 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 con me, con me. So he's in the Guardia studio, is he? I didn't know that. Perhaps he wanted me to buy tickets.
Tickets? I think...
You don't want
No.
400 zlotys? Well, that's about 100 euros a head. You know, these people, they don't need to be paid for their MP3s, because all they need to do is make concerts, and people will turn up like in droves and pay 100 euros a head. Well, I don't know. I'd rather they earn their money that way than try to get us to pay every time we make an MP3, because that's ridiculous. I don't mind them making money by actually performing. That's fair. That's the way musicians always used to. And for hundreds and hundreds of years, they made their money by performances, not just by saying, "Oh, every time you take a copy, you've got to give me some money." Where did that idea come from? It's a cancer of modern society, this intellectual property rights nonsense. Well, I don't know. It's all right. I think I'd rather pay that for a concert. If you actually there, you actually get to see the guy, and he sings his little heart out on the stage. I think he deserves to be paid. But just because people want to take advantage of the internet and swap a few files, he shouldn't be paid for all that. That's crap. They need to rethink their model. And if he comes and gives concerts in Warsaw, then I've got nothing bad to say about him. I didn't know that he had any concert though. You didn't tell me that there was going to be an Andrea Bocelli concert. It's usually Demis Roussos that goes to Eastern Europe. You like Demis Roussos? Yeah? Forever and ever and ever and ever you'll be the one that shines on me like the morning sun. You remember? It's this big fat guy, even fatter than me, until he went on a diet. He went on English chat shows showing how he was able to lose weight by only eating oranges. Which reminds me, oddly, of a chap who apparently walked out of the mathematics exam at Cambridge University the same year that I was doing my finals, and a chap apparently thing is, in the maths exam, if you hit a question you just can't do it, you can completely freeze up, because remember they're make or break examinations. So if you get to this point where there's, you know, where you're in the exam room and you discover, look, I can't do this, or you kind of don't understand the question, or you don't know what they're getting at, well then that's very stressful. So this guy sort of suddenly became convinced that he was an orange, and this guy got up in the maths exam, walked out of the exam saying, I'm an orange, oranges don't do exams, and got up, gathered his pens and pencils and his cosine tables or whatever they have, and walked out of the exam, thus ending an illustrious academic career. So when I can't think of oranges, after I heard that, I knew that it was going to change my perspective on oranges for the rest of my life, because if there's one thing that while you're at university you kind of dread, and it's the subject of recurrent nightmares even for some time after you've finished taking exams, is, you know, you have dreams. I don't know if anybody watching my films has had this dream, but you tend to get dreams where you're running late for an exam. I used to have this regularly. I don't have it these days, so I don't take exams anymore for several years. And but you get this dream where you're running late for an exam, you're about an hour late already, and people are looking at you as, why is he even bothering? But you just have to do it because you're fighting for your life. And you're trying to find out, and there's people distracting you the whole time. There's noise. You need to get up and go to the toilet, and you can barely think because you need to go to the toilet. That's the current one that you often get in the dream, because you need to go to the toilet at night, and it's impeding your dream. And the amount of times I had a dream where I've had to go to the toilet in the middle of an exam, and I've considered that to be something which would be an awful thing. Mind you, I've got an interesting story about going to the toilet in exams, which one day, probably not in this film, but one day I shall share with my viewers and listeners. It's a true story about something that happened to me with a relation to going to the toilet and having exams, or needing to go to the toilet inside of an exam. And one day I will say it to the loyal viewers, tell it to the loyal viewers of this channel. But I'll keep you holding on for the time being. This, incidentally, Dzikowskiego, is where the American ambassador is in Warsaw. So up there, his house. And just on this side, which is where we've got a police presence, is General Jaruzelski's house. He still lives, this last dictator of Poland. He has, well, as part of the deal made for him at the round table talks, he has a peaceful existence without people getting on his back. Of course nobody particularly likes him, but the deal was he'd be left in peace, and that deal has always been honoured. So he has his quite nice house in this quite nice part of Warsaw, and people sometimes see him going for walks, and basically people leave him alone. Poland is not the kind of country that you'd expect. That's an interesting way of getting around the sleeping policeman, to drive up on the pavement there. Little does WE9721R know that he's being filmed the whole time. But I talking about? Yes, Jaruzelski, General Wojciech Jaruzelski, the guy with the dragonfly glasses. He basically is left in peace, and he's able to live out his days in relative material security, unlike the Ceausescus in Romania that basically got lynched for their part in holding the nation down. Sometimes I don't know which is the better way of doing things, but certainly Poland was civilized about how it closed off that period in its history. It had worse. At the end of the day, the communist period wasn't free, but then it was an awful lot more free of violence, for example, than the period that had gone before it, the Third Reich, and the immediate takeover at the end by communists of the Third Reich. So people kind of looked at it in a more philosophical way, I suppose. Still Idzikovskiego, which cuts across other main roads in several places. This is Sobieskiego, going left right there. There's a bridge. If you were to turn left, you'd come to a bridge that goes over the Vistula. I'm doing a lot of talking, you're not saying anything.
I don't know.
Okay. So we're going to the cinema to see Bruno, which obviously I can't film in because it wouldn't be fair on old Sasha. I heard some things about this. I enjoyed the Borat film. Sometimes people say to me that Huliganov is a Borat character, but that's actually not the case, because I was impersonating Russians when Mr. Baron Cohen was still in short pants. He is about, I don't know, 7 or so years younger than myself, so therefore, and I've been doing it for a long time, learning Russian, doing a Russian accent, impersonating Russians, so Huliganov is a kind of reincarnation of something which is much been around, in my case, much longer, refined. When I was at university, I had friends that liked me to do these things, and basically it's nothing to do with Mr. Baron Cohen's creation. It's just purely coincidental that I've got a Russian character and he's got a, well, I mean, actually Borat Sagdiyev is not supposed to be a Russian character. He only seems to have an accent which is similar to the Russian accent, but basically it's a there we are, that's Sadyba, Bestmol Sadyba. I shall respect the probable wishes of the owners, whom I know, to not to film too much around here, because after all, people don't want their malls and everything being pinched by other people. So I should probably stop at this point.